Door County Media Group and the Door County Daily News. It's time for another Faces of the Farmers Market podcast. I'm Tim Coles. Neither one of us are a usual guest on this podcast, but it is a pleasure to have you here, Rex, from Door Born Clothing. And tell us a little bit about Door Born Clothing.
All right, sweet. Thank you for having me. First off, so Door Born, what we are is we are a Great Lakes-based outdoor lifestyle brand. I grew up in Door County, started this in college 5 years ago, and really just trying to create a brand, kind of like other regions. You'll see brands like Quicksilver in California, kind of a skate surf brand. Tommy Bahama, obviously the Gulf Coast. I want to build a similar outdoor type brand, but true to the Great Lakes region and based out of here in Door County. So really inspire people to go outside, outdoor recreation, but just like true to the area graphics. Really good fitting, functional type, casual clothing, but also gear. I do a lot of the like UPF 50+ sun shirts, and those are really popular with outdoors men and women. So yeah.
And what 5 years ago? So take us through that. 5 years ago, you go, man, I could really use a new T-shirt. Like how does that work when you go, okay, I got this idea. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, no, I think it was. I've kind of had this vision in my head since high school. But I've always just felt like the Door County that I saw, or the Great Lakes, that I saw was different than what was kind of portrayed in media, was different than what I was seeing at the gift shops or the tourist shops. And I just felt like there's a more sophisticated, more beautiful and a truly unique sort of like outdoor aspect here that's always kind of like not really revealed. So, a brand that's not specifically like, it's not all outdoor stuff. Like it's not a camouflage and blaze orange like every single item. But it's also like not apologetic to those, hunting or fishing either. And yeah, I just think there's a real coolness, there's an authenticity, and there's a trueness to this area that wasn't really shown in media or in clothing. And that's kind of what I'm trying to reveal. It's always been there. People have always known how cool and beautiful this area is, but I just wanted to kind of shed light on a different angle of it. And then, yeah, it's kind of, as I build the brand, I want people to feel like, oh, this has been here the whole time, even though it's a newer brand. So
now you have some of your Door Born swag on right now. You have the T-shirt, you got the hat going on. What goes into the designs that you try to produce? Yeah,
my style, I'd say, with the brand is simple, like classic. And I like to build clothing items that, one, they're going to be comfortable. So everything touch, feel has to be comfortable. It's going to be long lasting. And then I like things that are going to look good today. They would have looked good 30 years ago. They're going to look good 30 years in the future. So today I have one of our surf hats on, and I'm wearing the American grown oversized tee. So it's a USA grown cotton. It's cut and sewn in the US. And I did the chest print myself here as well. So it's a 100% American made garment. And it's nice. A lot of people like 100% cotton options as well. So a good choice. I have a lot of different items available though, but yeah.
And where do you actually produce everything?
I print most of it in-house. I have some more complicated, embellishments, like a 5 or 6 color print. I have key partners in Wisconsin and Iowa who help me with that, as well as like embroidery. It's really costly to get into that. I started Door Born with a college buddy of mine, Jake Cater, and he and I kind of built a print shop and the brand, and we were doing both.
Okay.
We separated in December, and he's kind of going on with doing custom printing for people. But I'm not interested in really building a print shop. I'm interested in building a brand for the Great Lake region. So. And
I only ask because if people, and we'll get to this. Actually, say now, what's the website that people can check out if they can't make it to the Sturgeon Bay Farmers Market?
If you're not hitting all the markets, which I tell people all the time, kind of like the T-shirt cowboy up here. I do like anywhere from 4 to 6 weekly events, so 4 to 6 events a week from mid-October. So like all the farmers markets just about, and then a lot of the big events. But if you're unable to make it in person, go to doorborn.com, so DOORBORN.com. I ship anywhere in the country. If you spend over $75, it's free shipping anywhere in the country. And I've sent shirts like many to Texas, Alaska, California, Florida, all over. So yeah, that's where you can find it. I have blog posts on there, a lot of articles about the region and stuff you can do outside and kind of when and where information. and then the clothing is going to be on there as well.
And I only ask because I took a look at the website before we came in here, and like that's a basic shirt. What you got on? You got salmon. You have like I thought I saw like some sunsets on there. Like how cool is that for you to be able to kind of use, your apparel as a canvas to show the Door County that you're really proud of?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and also just it's kind of like the fit and the function. I was seeing all these people wearing their fishing shirt from Florida out to charter fish up here, or they're wearing their Florida, they have a dolphin, or they have like a snapper. They have all these other like fishing graphics on their UPF 50 plus garment, and they're wearing it smallmouth fishing or fishing for king salmon. And I'm like, I understand why they're wearing that material, but it's like if they had the choice to wear a king salmon, if they had the choice to wear the smallmouth or the walleye like I provide now, I feel like most people would want that. So it's kind of like representing your area, representing the fish you're chasing after, and yeah, it's still offering that UPF 50 plus sun protection factor, as well as like being quick drying, moisture wicking. So just a functional piece of gear that's kind of true to what you're chasing after anyway. So.
And you mentioned before, you just said moisture wicking, which is good. As a person that runs and stuff like that, I appreciate that. But you're talking about some of the sunproof materials and stuff like that. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so anything on the website that says UPF 50 plus, it has a skin cancer like seal approval, but it's really just gear that it takes that like UV light off your skin, so it keeps you a little bit cooler, like significantly cooler in the direct sunlight. But the material itself is also thinner and it's breathable. Sometimes UPF gear will be thicker. You're actually going to get like kind of hot in it. My first sun shirt, I got really hot in. I'm like, why do people wear this stuff? But the ones that I sell, they're very thin, so if there's a light breeze, it'll blow through it. They run, I like to say they run casual, so it's not going to fit like an Under Armour. It's going to be a little looser. If you're someone who runs hot, you can even go up. I'm almost always an XL. I can fit in a 2X if it's super hot. It's kind of nice wearing the 2X just to have that like extra breathability. And then they also layer up beautifully. So I'm looking forward to bow hunting here in a couple of weeks, and I wear mine all the time as a base layer walking into the woods if I get hot, and I can always add stuff over the top. It's nice and thin, so layers up beautifully. And then all the performance shirts I sublimate, which basically means the ink on the garment, it's weightless. So it's not going to peel, it won't flake, it won't get hot on your back in the sun, you can't feel it, it won't be tacky at all. So again, great for layering, but stands out as an outer layer garment throughout the summer and throughout the year. So. Yeah,
and you started this business 5 years ago. What's been maybe the biggest thing that you've learned about business in these last 5 years?
Man, the last 5 years, the biggest thing. Well, I feel like I'm constantly learning. I'd say that the biggest thing that if I could go back day one, going into business, I felt like we have sweet graphics, we have sweet shirts, like the product's gonna sell itself. I always felt like the product will sell itself. And in the last like 2 or so years, I really doubled down on providing like a really good service in person. So it's not like sales in a creepy, like, this person's trying to sell me snake oil way, but really, I have it written on my fridge. I have a little whiteboard that I wrote down before the summer even started, like, leave a meaningful and lasting impression on everyone you meet. And that's really what I try to do. I had a few workers who did a great job. Shout out to Evan Elrod, was my intern this summer. And that was the one thing I really preached to him is, everyone you meet at the markets or at the bigger events, like, leave a meaningful and a lasting impression on them. So make them feel seen, make them feel heard. If they're up visiting Door County, make sure you welcome them to the county. If they're returning or if they're someone who's from around the area, make sure you acknowledge that. And then just find that link that you guys share. So are you both passionate about the outdoors? Maybe you're from the same area originally. Maybe you guys both love the Packers or you both love to fish, but find a link and really make that person feel like they're seen, they're heard. If they'd like help shopping, we'll help them out for sure. But also we're just genuinely glad to see them there. And that's really helped a ton. I think that, that's missing in large in our society, especially, in a retail setting. A lot of times you walk into a store and no one smiles at you, no one's nice to you. So I really want people to know, like, I'm happy to see them, whether or not they're going to be a customer. And that's one thing I wish, it's not the product sells itself. It's, hey, you're out there, make a connection with everyone, make it meaningful, make it lasting and positive.
And it sounds like events like the Sturgeon Bay Farmers Market, it's right up your alley, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to know, you know, where their food came from, how did you get into the business and things like that. And it sounds like that's a experience that you kind of chase with every customer that might come up to your booth.
For sure. Yeah, and shout out to Alexa and all the ladies at Destination Sturgeon Bay. I did the market my first year in 2020. It was like a night market. Granted, it was like, you know, start of COVID. And then I did it for a year or two after that, but then I stopped doing it because it was so slow for me. And it was a lot of, I mean, I grew up in Sturgeon Bay. I went to Sturgeon Bay High School. It was a lot of talking to my buddy's parents and, you know, this, that, and the other, but not a lot of sales. And I wasn't meeting really the people I was trying to sell to. So I stopped doing it for a few years. This is my first year back. And just incredibly impressed at how much it changed. So I have the same physical location that I had a few years back, but just, you know, we're bringing in a ton of people from Green Bay. They're pulling a ton of people from the marinas, which those people typically love the sun shirts, and then more and more like tourists as well. And I think too, Sturgeon Bay is more affordable if you're gonna vacation. There's also like more options probably as far as housing goes, or like, you know, seasonal, you know, places to stay. So yeah, I felt that there's a new mix of people every week. Sure, there's definitely, you know, the community still comes out to check it out, but I meet brand new people every week and really good quality customers and nice people to get to know. So I definitely have noticed a huge improvements in the market, yeah, as a vendor.
Now, for people that either go to the farmers market every weekend, but for some reason there's spots where they beeline each and every week and they miss 3 or 4 vendors, or if they've never been to the Sturgeon Bay Farmers Market, where do they find your booth?
Yeah, my booth, so we have with a map out here too, but I'm down, if you walk down 3rd towards Oregon Street, I'm one of the last ones down towards Oregon Street Bridge. So if you're going straight through the market, I know you can take a left, you can take a right on Nebraska, but if you just keep going straight down 3rd, you're gonna see me on the left-hand side, so like the same side as like the Red Room would be, and about a block down, a block and a half down from the Red Room. So, and I have a big double tent, big black top on it. It says Doorborn. It's pretty hard to miss. But yeah, I built it up. So you'll see I have really cool racks. I built them all so I can hang my clothing, and whether it's windy or not, nothing's gonna blow over, nothing's gonna fall off. Yeah, it has kind of a nautical feel. And if it is windy and everything's kind of swaying a little bit, you almost feel like you're on a ship. So it kind of works out too.
Now, I know Alexa and Brian always ask this question, and even I've asked this question when I've had to step in and things like that, and I ask it, oh God, aren't they really busy? They kind of get around and visit everybody and stuff like that, but lo and behold, everybody's like, no, we make sure that we stop by and we have our stops when we go to the farmers market. Sure. What are your stops when maybe you get a chance to kind of break away from your booth for a little bit and going to check out the different places?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely Dorco Photo. Paul, he does a great job. I love his photography. Most of my designs are based off my own like nature photography, but he blows me out of the water. So I like to stop down by him. He actually has a little like brick and mortar setup now too, a little like gallery. So you can check him out. He's closer towards, you know, the start on 3rd Ave there. I mean, Michigan Street and 3rd. He's probably like half a block down. Also on like the Red Room side of things there. So I like to stop by him, see how he's doing, and see if he has any new prints. And they're beautiful, blown up canvas wrapped images. So that's always, if I have a little time, I like to say what up to Paul.
Well, I'm sure that inspires you too, because you see some of those prints like, oh, I gotta find a spot where I can get a picture like that and put on a shirt or put on some of your gear, right?
Yeah, no, it's good inspiration for sure. You know, it's he does a great job, and we've always had a really cool relationship where it's, you know, we both appreciate what one another are doing. We're both big outdoorsmen. So yeah, it's cool.
As we get to the end of the year and things like that, you know, talk about just the importance of maybe just talking to some of your other fellow vendors and stuff too, because when you guys have been going at this since May, yeah, and we're coming up on some of our final weeks here.
Yeah, no, it's important to have a good relationship with everyone. And you know, I just got done doing the Tuesday market in Jacksonport, and I have really good neighbors around me at that one as well. But yeah, it's a grind. I mean, I don't know, there might be a couple others but there's very few of us that do like every single market, which I understand why. But it's a grind. It's a lot. I mean, setting up my tent takes about 40 minutes because I'm pretty well down. If I were to have someone, hired to help me, probably take them over an hour to set it up. And it's physical. I mean, you're hanging a ton of clothing up. The tent's heavy itself. The cinder blocks are heavy. So up and down, 40 minutes each, and you multiply that by 5 times a week, every week. And then the little things like, your friends and family, they enjoy, Labor Day, Memorial Day weekends, the 4th of July, all those things are like, those are your busiest times. So you really don't have that break from the chaos unless, you work it in. But yeah, I mean, I do it full time. I've done it full time for like 1.5 years now. It's a ton of work, but the future, the potential, I believe, is there, and I love doing it. And I meet wonderful people who kind of share a passion for the outdoors and an affinity to this region. So it's awesome for me.
What are some of the other designs that, like, maybe you're cooking up in your head right now? You're going, man, I got it. I'm thinking of this one. Like, I'm thinking of, the fish shirts and stuff like that. Like, have you ever had people come up to you and be like, hey, stop me if you've heard of this one before, but I think you should do a t-shirt of this. Have you had those people come up to you?
That's a daily occurrence for sure. I get a lot of, can you make this one individual shirt for me? Which, once again, I'm not working to build a print shop. I'm working to build a clothing brand. I do help some local businesses if it's like wintertime or off season, or they don't have like hey, I need them next week. If they want to do some clothing for their company. But my specialty is really like building a brand. As far as like, I always have a ton of ideas cooking. There's sharks in the water for sure. I can't give away too many freebies. But yeah, just imagine, it's hard because when I think of my business, when I'm describing my business to you, there's the business that you can see on my website. There's what you can see on 3rd Ave and Surgeon Bay on Saturdays. But when I think of my business, I think of what it's going to be in 1 year, 2 years, and 5 years down the line. And I'm super excited for that. So it's just taking what's already in my mind and making it tangible for everyone else. But yeah, it's just really an outdoor brand true to the Great Lakes, and then timeless designs that look good today, they're going to look good in 30 years. And if they were on a sweatshirt or crew neck or a fishing shirt in the 70s, they would have looked sweet back then too. And that's really what I'm going for. And then really to hit, I have a good fishing line now. I also have a good, I like to call it lifestyle designs. So like cool sunsets. I have a Bayshore Drive design that's really sweet. But adding on to that lifestyle side as well. Because not everyone loves fishing like me, but that doesn't mean that they don't love this region, they don't get outdoors. So, having more options for people who, they like to sail, or they like biking, or they like kayaking. So just starting to hit more of those squares where anyone who has, that passion for this region and a passion to be outdoors, they feel like there's an item for them that really is like a flagship item for them. But also, there's other items I offer that their brother might like or their daughter might like. So having a little more variety is what I see in the future.
So if people want to maybe do a little pre-shopping, or maybe if they're already home for the summer and they're not going to be coming back to Sturgeon Bay, what's that website again that people can come and check out, and then they can go see you at one of the farmers markets still yet this season?
Yeah, if you want to shop or just see what I have, maybe you've been listening to this and you're like, all right, I'm kind of interested, go to doorborn.com, like DOORBORN.com. Everything's on there. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, it's Doorborn. On Instagram, it's door_born. But yeah, you can shop from social media as well, and even TikTok, it's available. You can shop off of TikTok. But yeah, and if you ever have questions, if you're on the website, you see something you like, it's out of stock, you can always shoot a customer message or reach out to me over social media. A lot of times, my focus has been on these in-person events because I've had so many, but I can always print one up. It doesn't take that long, or I can at minimum tell you when it'll be back in stock. So don't fold your cards if it's like, oh, it's out of stock, I'm done. Just, if you can have a little bit of patience, just realize it's a one-man operation right now. I'd love to take care of you, but just, shoot me a message. It doesn't hurt. It takes a second. So.
Very good. And you're located near the end of 3rd Avenue towards the Oregon Street Bridge, correct? You said?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. So make sure you go out and check out Rex Meikle from Doorboard Clothing. Thank you so much for being one of the faces of the farmers market.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You've been watching Door County Media Group and the Door County Daily News.